Hey everybody, greetings from California. I'm sorry I can't be there. Turns out my wife Nancy and I just bought a new house a few months back just north of San Francisco, and as you can imagine, things have been a bit hectic. But I know everybody there is having a great time, and all my thoughts are with you. Knowing I wasn't going to be able to make the trip back there to this year's reunion, I talked to Steve and Whitney about offering my tribute to Bobby in absentia, and so this video. As I do this, I want to direct my comments to his daughters, Paige and Brooke, who I'm sure don't remember meeting me, but I remember meeting the two of you many years back at one of our early reunions. I think it may have been at our 10th or 15th when you were both little girls. In any case, I wanted to start by formally offering my condolences on your dad's passing. I'm sure you think of him every day, and I can only imagine how challenging it's been for the two of you over the last year. He was a wonderful human being, and his friends and classmates, we all suffered a tremendous loss with his passing, but nothing compared to what I'm sure the two of you have experienced, and so my heart goes out to both of you. Your dad and I were very close friends, like he was with many of those that are there in attendance today. The origin of my friendship with your dad goes back to all the way back to fourth and fifth grade, during a period where we spent a lot of time together. As those that go back that far recall, the ritual among close friends at the time was the Friday night sleepover. If you'd basically get an invitation and end up at somebody's house on Friday night. I didn't keep records, but during those couple of years, your dad and I spent a lot of Friday nights together. Not surprisingly, the memory above else of those days and nights was your dad making me laugh. And no doubt I'm an easy audience, as folks there can tell you, but God, he made me laugh. I remember vividly on countless occasions being in my bedroom, laying in bed, lights out, trying to fall asleep with your dad in the bed next to me, torturing me with another story, another joke, another impersonation, another burp or fart or some guttural sound until I was in tears from laughter, till we were both in tears. Long and short, we had a lot of fun, and he became a fixture in our household. My parents loved him, my older brothers and sisters loved him, my dog Twiggy loved him, and I loved him. It was a really special time. As kids are wont to do, we moved on from that period. We developed new friendships and followed different paths, and while we were never as close as we were in those couple of years, during that period we formed an unshakable bond that was there throughout the rest of our time at the academy and eventually into our adult lives. Aside from the time your dad spent at my house, I think the thing I remember most was visiting him at his house. Your dad was a very private person, and so to be invited to his house to see the world he lived in with your grandmother was very special, and it was a real sign of trust on the part of your dad. Part of what made it unique was it would be just you and your dad. Your grandmother was working full time. Your dad was an only child, as you guys are aware. And so when you went to your dad's house, it would be just the two of you and his pets. There was his dog Tidy, which was a Chihuahua that he had at the time. She was kind of mean, but nice enough after you got to know her. And then there was his baby crocodile. I kid you not. I don't remember the crocodile having a name. All I remember was he had a crocodile that he kept near a heater and off the kitchen so it would stay warm. I also remember that pretty quickly the crocodile outgrew the terrarium or whatever you keep a crocodile in, and it was donated to a zoo or something, or that's what we were told anyways. After that, your grandma got a second Chihuahua, a white-haired Chihuahua that your dad named Peanuts, and that was your dad's really his first dog, and he loved her just like he loved Bo. Otherwise, the house, as I remember it, was meticulously kept, as was his room, with his toys arranged perfectly. They weren't untouchable or anything. He'd gladly take them off the shelf and we could play with them, but they went back to their place when you were done. The other memory from that period was your grandmother. She was a bigger than life character from that period. I remember being pretty intimidated by her at first. She could be pretty severe, as I suspect you both experienced yourself. But as I got to know her, I came to understand that while she was tough, she was also fair. And I came to realize that she also had a wicked sense of humor. And I remember that she couldn't have been more generous towards me once we got to know one another. No surprise to you two, I'm sure, but so much of who your dad was came directly from her. I could go on with other memories from that period, but suffice to say that, like so many others that are there right now with you, when you get to know one another at such an early age, like many of us did with your dad and with each other, you get to know each other in a very unique and special way, and you form bonds that you carry with you the rest of your lives. And so, fast forward to the weekend before your dad passed away. As with past reunions, I had reached out to your dad prior to the gathering to confirm that he'd be there. And as it turned out, this time around, he had a weekend retreat that he was committed to attending, and so wasn't going to be able to make it to the reunion. But that being said, we arranged to get together on the weekend following when I'd be back in town. And that Saturday morning when we got together, he'd competed in a local mountain bike race, which of course he'd won. And as usual, not only did he win his class, but his finishing time was faster than most of the riders half his age. Your dad and I shared a passion for mountain biking, and so I was eager to hear about the race and check out his latest bike. And as we did, whenever we got together, we covered the full range of topics, from mountain biking to how things were at work for him, to news of classmates we'd seen recently. He was very interested, obviously, in what I'd experienced on the reunion the prior weekend, and invariably our children. And on this occasion, he shared his excitement at Paige, your upcoming wedding, and how the two of you were living near each other, and how, given the turn of events in his life, he was really enjoying getting to spend more time with the two of you. As always, he spoke with great pride regarding both of you, and obviously loved you dearly. We also talked about where he was in his life. We had stayed pretty close communication over the previous, 5 years or so, more so than previously. He'd visited me in California, and we kept in pretty regular communication between trips I made to Pittsburgh, phone conversations, and email exchanges. I remember talking to him, for example, on the day after your grandmother passed, and we spoke on several occasions over the prior years regarding the challenges he'd been facing following the abrupt breakup that he'd suffered. Point being, this time around, when I talked to him, my sense was he was doing better. He seemed like he was really kind of getting balance back in his life. He'd moved into a new place. He was seeing someone new. Retirement was on the horizon. He was doing a lot of riding. He'd had a sort of spiritual awakening, and as I've already said, he was really enjoying spending more time with the two of you. As we departed that day, we talked about getting together and doing some mountain biking out west. We both really looked forward to kind of exploring the next phase of our friendship and getting to do stuff together. And then, a few days later, I heard the news. I am still in shock, really, over your dad's passing. And preparing, and recording this video has made me painfully aware of that fact. Like so many in attendance today, I loved your dad and miss him greatly. He was one of a kind. He was a one-of-a-kind and a bigger-than-life character whose passion, humor, determination, conviction, and honesty left an impression on any and everyone he encountered. For my part, I carry your dad with me whenever I get on my mountain bike. I put your dad's initials, RHA, on the top tube of both of my bikes. And so when I'm riding and look down, I see those initials and I think of him. And typically I'll push myself a little harder because I know if he were there, he'd be kicking he'd be kicking my ass and challenging me to keep up and laughing all the way. With that, I'll hand things off to the next speaker. Again, all my best to the two of you and everyone there. I hope you all enjoy a wonderful celebration, and I look forward to being there in person the next time you all get together. Thanks.